Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! I've always wanted you guys to know that you've held a very special place in my heart for a very long time. This emotional connection that I've shared with every fan of Descendants of Zombies while sharing with you my very powerful story about how I was always a fan has meant so much to me. The lyrics from one of my favorite TV shows of all time just happened to be Austin and Allie's theme song because it went a little something like this. There's no way that I could have ever made it without you guys, because there's no way that I could have ever been able to create so many wonderful videos and so much inspiring content for every fan of Descendants of Zombies without your guys' love and support. And I've always wanted you guys to know that without you, I have no idea where I'd be. You know, I've had a lot of opportunities in my lifetime, but this opportunity is one that I will never ever forget. It's one that I really seized and ran away with because I wanted to be a part of all these characters' beautiful stories. And I wanted to be a part of your stories most of all. I wanted to get to know you for the fans that you were, how much you believed and trusted in the futures of Descendants of Zombies, while offering with you my predictions and my theories about what I thought was going to happen, because if there was one guy out there who believed in Descendants of Zombies and all of you with all of his heart, it was this guy. And I really had no regrets. I haven't looked back since. I feel like I've been walking through the forest of Oregon, and some way or somehow I managed to fall down a rabbit hole and fall into Wonderland. And ever since I fell into Wonderland, I met so many wonderful people, and I became friends with those people, and I trusted in your guys' vision for Descendants of Zombies. You guys always wanted a voice that you could see a hero in, that you could hear a hero's opinion from, and I feel so honored to be that guy for you guys, because the thing is, there have been so many content creators who kind of just showed up here when Descendants of Zombies became a thing, when Descendants of Zombies became a trend. You know, I've often referred to Descendants of Zombies as something much greater than a world. I've often referred to it as a galaxy, because there are far more fans of Descendants of Zombies out there than ever given credit for that will ever be remembered. You guys have obviously been a part of something special for forever. You felt connected to your favorite stars and their stories, and I felt so honored to be sitting in this chair every night to have these conversations with what would happen to be thousands of people for me, because you guys have made this an unforgettable experience for me, a really life-changing experience at that. You know, it's one thing for somebody to come on here and tell you how they feel about Descendants of Zombies and the characters and their stories, because every character, no matter who we could talk about over the next 20 minutes, has a story. But when you tell people how you truly feel about Descendants of Zombies and how Descendants of Zombies makes you feel, that allows you to feel connected to your audience and give you a greater appreciation for your audience and how your audience really feels about Descendants of Zombies. There have been thousands of people who have obviously seen something special in every video that I've had the honor to create, and that really warms my heart, because when you know you touch the hearts of every fan of Descendants of Zombies, it's truly an undescribable feeling that I will never be able to put into words. I have sat here every night, and I've never known what I was about to say every single time I push record. I often record funny videos, very to the point videos. I record how I feel about Descendants of Zombies, never knowing what I'm going to say every time I push record, but that's what makes every video so special for me in the end of every conversation that we have, because the only hope I've ever had is that somebody's going to click on my thumbnail and watch these videos about how I feel about Kylie, how I love Ruby, how I always loved Malia, and I wanted to support them, because I heard all the critical reviews they were receiving, the cruel comments that were being posted on social media just today. I read some pretty cruel comments about Kylie Control that had no business being posted by whoever posted them. There are a lot of people who have taken exception to the Descendants of Zombies franchise. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to offer something special to you guys. I wanted to offer you reviews that you could believe in, so that you knew that Descendants 5 and Zombies 5, regardless of how critics and journalists may have felt, with the exception of myself, there was going to be a future for Descendants of Zombies fans to depend on, and something they could trust in. If there was anything in this life that you could trust in, it was going to be a future having everything to do with your favorite stars. And I've loved being a part of that with each and every one of you, while sharing with you my story about how girls showed up at my door every year on Halloween dressed up as their favorite characters. And I would spend forever trying to figure out who you guys were, because at the time I didn't even know what Descendants was. And then you guys sent me down into my parents' basement researching everything there was to know about Descendants of Zombies, and that's what made this so special for me and truly a life-changing and unforgettable experience, because I had the chance to meet all of you. One of the most important things that's emphasized on with the Descendants script of recency is the value of time and just how precious it is. Because when you really think about it, let me put it to you this way. If Descendants of Zombies would have never happened, we would have never met. this YouTube channel would have never been created. I probably would have been just some YouTuber that would have faded off into obscurity and would have never had a chance of becoming everybody's favorite hero. That's what I always wanted to be, was a hero and a legend. Now, in order for somebody to become a legend, they have to have a cultural impact, which means they have to touch the hearts of people from all different cultures and all walks of life. And while I may be a long way away from ever doing that, probably a lot of people who are watching this video think I'm the smartest guy ever. While I may be a long way away from ever doing that, I know that I have the love and support of at least, 75% of the Descendants of Zombies fans out there. And I've loved every single moment of it because it gave me a chance to get to know each and every one of you for the fans that you were. How beautifully passionate you were about your favorite characters and their stories, and how you felt inspired to be just like them through their fashion sense, through their incredible strength, and this amazing heart and dedication they always had for everything they were a part of. And I felt more than honored to experience this. Events like the Worlds Collide Tour and the premiere of Zombies 4: Dawn of the Vampires. I really had the time of my life watching this. Now, while I may have never attended the Worlds Collide Tour, and you're probably saying to yourself, hey, Jonathan Clarke, you could have attended the Worlds Collide Tour with us because you would have been our favorite reviewer. You would have been our favorite YouTuber. You could have crowd surfed with us. You could have gave us your autograph. We would have loved you so much. And if you are somebody who thinks that, thank you so much. Because it is very difficult to fall into a niche that will be forever supportive of how you feel about that niche and its characters and their stories. But I've been very appreciative of each and every one of you because what you felt about Descendants of Zombies has always mattered to me. How you wanted the Leg 2 of the Worlds Collide Tour more than anything else in this lifetime to experience meant so much to me, and I did everything within my power to ensure that these stars were going to have legacies, and this was going to happen for you. I may have never known if Kylie Cantrell or Freya Sky were going to be a part of Leg 2, but the beautiful thing about Leg 2 is Leg 2 is going to feature stars that we have never seen before, stars of this new franchise that Camp Rock is introducing to us for the first time ever. For many of you who don't know, it's been since at least 2010 since there's been a Camp Rock sequel, and Camp Rock 3 will be the first one in years. With the exception of Allison Stoner, all the original cast are coming back to introduce us to new stars that could be embarking on their own journey for a brand new trilogy, which will include the likes of Demi Lovato and Joe Jonas, and I'm really excited to see where we go from here. So the purpose with this tour is to introduce us to the new cast, and trust me guys, if they weren't good, they wouldn't be in the positions they're in. So I think we can trust in that Leg 2 of the Worlds Collide Tour with the addition of a brand new franchise is going to be far more special than the original ever was. The original introduced us to the first time ever to Kylie Cantrell and Freya Sky and how much they would go on to mean to the Descendants of Zombies franchises. But this leg of the tour is setting us up to be a part of something so special that we are never ever going to forget. We're going to hear the stories of these characters we've never heard before, and we're going to hear music that we've never heard before. And the reason why this tour is being put off until the fall of 2026 is to introduce us to the new songs. Red's going to have her own new ballad. There are going to be new songs performed by the new cast members such as Leimani Segura, and it's going to be really beautiful to experience it for the first time ever. So if you're making plans to head out to the Worlds Collide Tour, here's what I want you to do for me. If you do anything for anybody that you watch on YouTube, I want you to go and I want you to have the time of your life, and I never want you to care about what critics have to say about it, because how you feel, I always want you to remember this, how you feel about Descendants of Zombies is what's always mattered to me and mattered to more people that you've never even watched. While it may have never mattered to critics, it's always mattered to me how you guys feel about Descendants of Zombies and how you felt a part of something special, because you deserve the chance to be a part of something special just like your favorite stars. It's never impossible to make dreams happen for yourself. And no matter what your dream is or how difficult it may seem to achieve, every dream is possible because everybody has a light and everybody eventually finds those lights. And that's exactly what these new stars of the Camp Rock franchise, for example, are trying to find. Their light and their position in life. And when they do find it, they're going to make something special of it, and we're all going to be a part of it. And I think we can give a chance to these new stars of this new Disney generation, which is very different from generations that we had the chance to experience. I've really had the time of my life being a part of whatever generation of Disney I had the chance to be a part of. I just quoted the theme song of one of my favorite shows, Austin and Ally, which ended and concluded in 2016. And now this summer we're going to see a 4-part season 3 of Wizards of Beyond Waverly Place as they say goodbye. And it's going to be a really emotional send-off, because I remember back in 2017 when Girl Meets World said goodbye. I was the biggest fan of Boy Meets World. I had the biggest crush in the world on Topanga Lawrence. and I openly admitted to that on this show, and I never forgot how much of a special place in my heart she held. So every Friday, because I was the biggest fan of Topanga out there, and my friends were also huge fans of Topanga, but I was the biggest fan of Topanga out there in this universe, I would watch Boy Meets World every Friday night. And the one thing I always wanted to see the series conclude, if the series was ever going to conclude, which it eventually did, on May 5th, 2000, I never ever forgot that date. Like I never ever forgot the date that Batman Returns debuted, which was 1992 on June 19th. I never ever forgot that. But I always wanted to see Corey and Topanga spend the rest of their lives together. I always wanted to see, no matter who we were a part of, whose stories we were going to be a part of, spend the rest of their lives together. So when I heard people on social media saying that Zed and Addison were going to spend the rest of their lives together, I supported that because that's what I wanted to see happen in the Zombies franchise. Because when it eventually happens, when things like kisses between Freya Sky and Malachi Burton are eventually going to happen, and Zed and Addison get to that critical point where they realize, hey, I think it would be cool if we spent the rest of our lives together, that's what makes these franchises so special. That's what gives you a chance to believe in something so special more than ever before. And I felt so honored to see the stories of Corey and Topanga play out. I felt so honored to see the stories eventually of Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens play out, because Vanessa Hudgens is a huge wrestling fan now. She just had the chance to be in the wrestling ring for the first time ever a couple of weeks ago. Don't let her know I told you that, but that's some behind-the-scenes secrets that I have from the entertainment industry. I was involved with the wrestling industry for forever, so I get a couple of secrets thrown my way every once in a while. Somebody calls me and tells me what's happening. Vanessa Hudgens is a huge wrestling fan now. I've seen these stars really grow into something special. And that's what's made these videos so special for me, having the chance to create these videos and share with you my stories about what I experienced as a Disney fan. If there was a guy out there who loved Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus with all of his heart, it was this guy. And I also gave Emily Osmond a chance too, because I remember the stories about how Emily went to public school and she had to deal with the pressures of attending public school and getting an education while having to perform on the set of Hannah Montana while she was never friends with Miley Cyrus, and that was very, very difficult. I never ever forgot how Miley wrote in her book years ago how they really tried to be friends with each other, but they never really could. I believe the quote went something like this: "We really tried to be friends. We really did. And as much as I wanted to be friends with Emily, I could never really reason with her." And that really broke my heart until I got to the page in the book where she actually wrote a poem for Emily in the book. It was, I think, page 225. And it was at that moment when I really realized that people like Miley Cyrus were really trying to be a part of something special and really send an emphatic message of how friendships that we make in our lifetime should be very important to us and mean more to us than life itself. Because if you have that one special friend that stays with you for forever, no matter what your circumstances or situations are, who always understands you. Let's say you got a boyfriend and he always calls you, he's always checking on you, and sometimes when he checks on you 50 times throughout a day through a message, a text message, or a phone call, it becomes really annoying and you eventually hang up the phone. The thing you got to think about is he calls you every time to check on you because he cares about you. And if you have that in your life to appreciate, then you should appreciate it and you should hold on to it and never let go of it. Because opportunities like this never seem to happen for us enough. I've always believed that, and I've always believed that girls always want to make everybody happy around them. And that's what's made this whole experience for me so special, is the chance to get to know you guys for the people that you are. And I think that there are far more incredible people who are a part of this niche than probably ever given credit for that will ever be remembered. And the one thing that I wanted to ensure through the power of these videos that I would go on to create where the legacies of your favorite stars would indeed last for forever, because indeed they're going to. And what it comes down to is how much all of us have believed in them, how much of a chance we've taken on them, because in all honesty, guys, we've taken more of a chance on these franchises and their stars than perhaps ever before, than we're probably ever going to admit to. But the thing is, the one thing I've always noticed about the fans of Descendants of Zombies are they are incredibly supportive of who and what they love, and they're never going to quit on people like Malachi Burton. You guys have some of the biggest crushes in the world on Malachi Burton, and I can see why, because he's so relatable, and he's always taking the time out of his busy schedules to relate to all of you through social media posts, meet and greets. He's always shaking your hands, taking photos with you guys, taking the chance upon himself to meet you. And I think about Malachi Burton because when I was his age, which was a long time ago, but when I was his age, I was the exact same way. Whenever I was involved with pro wrestling or entertainment, I always took the time out to get to know the people for who they were because it allowed you to develop an understanding of the people, the niche that you were trying to attract. And I really had the time of my life doing it. And I saw a lot of myself in Malachi Burton's qualities because he went on to win all of your hearts through the posts that you're making on social media because you're hoping that you're going to have the chance yourself to get to meet him like millions of people already have. And don't worry, guys, you will have the chance to meet your favorite stars because the one thing that I'm trying to do in every video that I create is ensure that there will be a future for Descendants of Zombies, and you guys are going to have many more opportunities to experience something special with all of your favorite stars. I will never be able to live long enough or put into words how Descendants of Zombies fans have really meant to me and my heart, because you guys have held a very special place in my heart for a very long time, and I've really felt more than honored to be a part of something so special. Thank you so much, by the way, for spending your Easter weekend of 2026 with me, because you could really be spending it with anybody who's posting videos about Descendants of Zombies. But the thing is, the one thing that everybody always takes away special from these videos is how somebody actually sits down and has a conversation with you about Descendants of Zombies, and how he feels like he fell down through a rabbit hole, and how he can tell the story of how he's fallen down through a rabbit hole with all of you and make it relatable. Because even when you think the chances of you falling down through a rabbit hole could never ever happen for you, it really can. And I think that if you hold on to that belief, it will eventually happen for you. I don't know what you're going to do when you fall down through a rabbit hole and realize it's happened for you, but you're probably going to think to yourself, hey, that guy Jonathan Clarke was speaking truth. Now I've fallen down through a rabbit hole, what am I going to do? And we'll find out when we get there. That's a bridge we're all going to have to cross together. But I think the best way to experience the future of Descendants of Zombies is to have these conversations about mermaids, about people who believe it's going to happen. And I think the best way to get there together is believe in things like happily ever after existing, because that's the one thing that I've always encouraged. So if you want to have these conversations with people who also believe in mermaids, then go ahead and have them. If you want to believe in fairy tales existing and happily ever after happening for you, then I encourage that. And that's the one thing I've always wanted to be a part of and find time in supporting. So from wherever you're watching this video, from wherever you hear my voice tonight, thank you so much for spending your weekend with me. It was a good one, and I had a whole lot of fun. And tomorrow we will do it all over again. We will run it back. We will have conversations about the Worlds Collide Tour in fall 2026. We will have conversations about Kylie Control's new single, Carrie Bradshaw. We will talk about Zombies 5 happening in 2027 and the upcoming premiere of Descendants 5 Wonderland, which there are many predictions yet to make and conversations yet to be had, and they are conversations I look forward to having with all of you. Thank you so much for having chosen this YouTube channel time and time again as your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel. It has forever and always been my honor to create so many wonderful videos and so much relatable content for wonderful fans of Descendants of Zombies that I could only ever hope that I was going to touch the heart of. Thank you so much for holding a very special place in your hearts for Descendants of Zombies and for always having watched these videos. It's forever and always been my honor. Thank you so much for believing in Descendants of Zombies with all of your heart, and as always, thank you so much for having watched this video.